episode of Horrible Horrors because we'll be discussing my all-time favorite horror film, the 1985 classic The Re-Animator. Now, of course, this film is based off of the work of H.P. Lovecraft, which in itself is based off the work of Mary Shelley. All of these things are about a man trying to play God and his creation coming back at him. Now, of course, H.P. Lovecraft's work was much more serious than the 85 movie. However, much like the most recent Star Trek film, H.P. Lovecraft, like J.J. Abrams, took an idea that was already established and worked in a different direction with it. So, while taking something that everyone already knew, it allowed them to build from that foundation and create something new and different. The movie revolves around the main character, Herbert West.
Herbert West.
A budding scientist who was recently transferred to Miskatonic University.
You didn't say why you left Switzerland.
There was no more I could learn there.
So what is this movie ultimately about? Well, it's about Herbert West and his ever-growing attempts to reverse death. He's engineered some kind of glowing formula that jump-starts the body after brain death. The problem is, when the corpse comes back to life, it mostly just flips out and becomes a rage zombie. Now, before you assume that Herbert is the villain of this picture, know that what's interesting is that he doesn't really fit into the black and white titles of good or evil. He's more in this gray area of opportunist. Despite his manipulations of people and playing with forces beyond his control, he's somewhat charming and always a badass.
Dan, look out.
I wanted to show one of my absolute favorite scenes in this film, in which Herbert West's new roommate has just discovered his pet cat in Herbert's fridge.
I was going to show you.
Shut up.
It's suffocated. It knocked the garbage over and it got its head stuck in a jar. You weren't home, so I put it in there. I certainly didn't think you'd want to find it like that. I did not want to stink the place up. I was going to show you.
You couldn't call or write a note.
I was busy pushing bodies around, as you well know. And what would a note say, Dan? Cat dead, details later.
So his experiments continue to get people killed, and next thing you know, Herbert's formula has been stolen by headless Dr. Hill, and he's decided to do unspeakable things with it. The setting of his allegory on playing God is the aforementioned Miskatonic U, playground of all things occult in Lovecraft literature. As a side note about this film and the choices that it makes, even though Miskatonic is the hub of madness and evil in pop culture, this film treats it like an average mundane school. This creates an awesome contrast that makes the horror that happens in this film jump out even more. So other than the awesome premise and characters, why else should you give a shit about an almost 30-year-old Frankenstein knockoff? Well, first of all, the special effects. That's amazing. Oh my god, that's gross. I want that as a sidekick. But that's not all this film has to offer. For instance, this film has the absolute greatest cutaway editing I've ever seen in my life. Equally as important is the acting in this film. There are some amazing performances.
It's better.
Went crazy.
Dean Halsey? Dean Halsey! I'm calling the police.
And I can't even show you the best scene in the whole movie because it's on YouTube. But I can describe it to you. This tries to go down on this. Hilarious. Anyways, I beg you, please rent this film. It's fantastic. I know you'll love it if you're anything like me, and if you're not, you'll probably love it anyway. That's all I really have to say about this film without giving the whole plot away. Thank you for watching this, and the next video is going to be on the Re-Animator's subsequent sequels. Thank you for watching.
Do you agree that he's dead now? Do you agree that he's dead?